coach would have been, well, what's one of those? So can you just tell us about, what's your background in that journey to being the soul coach?
Well, the soul coach as a business is in its infancy, really. It only started around 3 years ago. And that was born out of a very difficult personal time that I was going through. My husband had announced he wanted to leave. I'd been living down south. I ended up coming back to Cheshire, where I'm from, and I was husbandless, jobless in a way, and homeless. And prior to that time, I'd already been working as a therapist. Just to give a little background information, around 15 years ago, I started to develop panic attacks and anxiety. And I'm very honest and open about this because I feel it's really important to remove the stigma around mental health, and that we all struggle from time to time. For me, though, sadly, it was quite a long time in my life, long period of my life, that I was really struggling with it. And I'd gone down all the conventional routes, back and forth to the doctors, and I became a bit of a conundrum. And so, like a lot of people, when they're in that desperate place of wanting to get better, and I've almost been struck off in a way, you go out searching. And so I came across the kind of complementary therapy market and tried lots of different things, and really helped to make a difference. But I felt that something was missing. Something still wasn't quite right. I was still feeling quite anxious at times, very fearful. Panics would just come on me. And I had a chance conversation with somebody that introduced me to kinesiology, and that is holistic therapy that uses muscle testing to communicate with the wisdom of the body. It's actually what's going on for this person, what needs to change in order for balance to be restored. And that was the awakening for me. That lady introduced me to the world of metaphysics, metaphysical medicine, about the correlation between the mind and the body, and that our body mirrors what our thoughts and beliefs are about ourselves. And also that we hold a lot of stored emotions in our body that we think we've dealt with, and that can manifest a bit further down in life as a health problem. And 3 books that she told me to read. One was Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, which a lot of people know about. Another one was Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And there was a third one which has just left me at this time. And they were really important to me because I read them, and at that first time I realised that actually these symptoms were giving me a message, and if they were meant to have just gone, they would have gone. And what I really needed to do was to heal my life, and that's what I did. And it took me 7 years, 7 solid years of focusing on healing me, going into those places, shining a light on anything that really wasn't the truth of who I was, and giving myself permission to feel those feelings and to let them go. And it isn't easy. And so during that time, I decided to retrain as a therapist. So I qualified as a kinesiologist, also as a Reiki practitioner, because that really did help me, and also meditation. They were the 3 things that really helped me and awakened me to really wanting to help others, help others that were going through similar crises, and they were the main things. And then when I had this recent crisis in my life, it really made me challenge, what's this all about? I've gone through this already, I've healed, I've learned. Is there a deeper message? And that was what took me on that more soulful journey. And so I took further training, and I learnt to analyse an individual's soul plan through the energy of their birth name. And that was it was the missing piece of the jigsaw for me, because I was able to understand why I'd actually gone through overall all the things in my life, what my soul's challenges were, and what it wanted to gain from that. How can I grow as an individual? And furthermore, how can I use that as a springboard to absolutely find what my purpose is and share it with the world? So where the soul coach came about, because that really was it encompassed everything. So I still am an holistic therapist. I practice Reiki, kinesiology, also flower essences, which are holistic tools for emotional support and well-being. And also I do the deeper soul journey. If somebody really wants to understand their life, their potential, and have support at a soul level to help them to get through their challenges with grace and ease.
And that would start with the report, would it?
Yeah, the soul plan reading. Some people are already on a spiritual path, so I work with them because they have an awareness. There are lots, we live in amazing times, there are lots of tools out there of ways to kind of get a deeper understanding of who you are. I'd had a lot of different things over the years, but the soul plan for me was what spoke to me. It spoke the language of my soul. And so a person would come and have that soul plan reading, and what that does is it activates a deeper knowing, a knowing that's beyond your conscious mind, that part of you that really knows what it can be, what it can be underneath all the mental blocks, the limitations, that I can't do that, the fears and anxieties. And and it just starts to an awakening process. So having the soul plan analysed is a great start for that. And my gift is being able to bring that spiritual element into everyday life, but in a very grounded, down to earth way. I want to kind of dispel all that kind of woo-woo side of spirituality and say, you know what, it's accessible to everybody. You can take from it whatever you need. And from there, a lot of people, it's an affirmation. They go off and they go, gosh, that makes real sense to me. I've worked through my challenges, now I understand that, and I want to work towards what my potential is. Other people that I then work with subsequently is one-to-one, is when they really are stuck in their challenges, they're stuck in their pain, they're stuck in their fear, and they need help in moving through that. That's when I would do one-to-one work thereafter. And I would bring in all my tools.
Brilliant. And I can really see and really advocate that you really do manage to break down, you know, the woo-woo barriers, if you like. I know that certainly in our Flourish group, Sharon has participated and really been able to give us some really good insights. I myself have had my soul plan done, and again, it really just gives you that context of a lot of situations, and that really does make a lot of sense. And I know as well you analyse my business name as well, and also my even just using my name, my own personal name as my business name, and just going, actually, was that really the right fit for the business? And for me, it really gave that real last piece that made me go, yeah, that's the decision. You know, it was really, really, really powerful just to have that. There's like no question anymore. It's like, that's it. Now decided.
And we all know.
Go with that,
you know, we all have that intuitive wisdom. But you know, we're human, and sometimes we just need that little nugget from somebody that goes, that's what I needed to hear. That's enough for me now to go and do it. So that same system of analysis works with business names, strap lines, all of that, to make sure that the energies in that name are aligned with your business. So if you were an accountant, you really wouldn't want an energy in there where there was issues around financial security. It's not going to work. So I would be looking at changing that name so that actually you're working with the strengths rather than against it. It doesn't mean it won't be a successful business. It just means that it might be an uphill struggle. And at the end of the day, nobody wants that. We want to make the path as clear as possible.
So I can really hear the real passion within your voice. It's like, oh, you can look at it again. So, but what is it that really drives you to have that passion? Because you can hear it, but what's the real drive for you to have that passion? What makes you so passionate?
The real drive is wanting to make a difference in the world. I'll be perfectly honest, and I know that sounds a bit like a Miss World speech, but it is. But it is, and it's for every one person that you can help to make a difference. Every one person that wakes up to who they are, loves who they are, embraces all the opportunities that life brings, that has a ripple effect, you know, and it changes the lives of so many people that are interlinked with that. So the passion really is from wanting to help, wanting to make a difference. You know, only a couple of weeks ago, I came across old school reports from when I was an infant, and it said then, Sharon much prefers to stay in and help me tidy up than go out and play. And I thought, that's absolutely it. I hate tidying up now, but that was just my little way at that age of wanting to help. And that's really what I've probably done throughout my life in the career I had prior to that, was just wanting to help. And that's it. It's giving you the tools and techniques to empower yourself to go out and have the most amazing life, but also to be loving and kind to yourself when you're facing the challenges.
So, we talked about challenges there. So, obviously, when you're growing a business, there are challenges within that. What do you think has really allowed you to be successful in your business? What do you think those key things?
Well, as I say, this part of my work now is in its infancy. But the main thing that I apply in my life, whether it's in my personal life or in my business life, and which I try and impress upon everybody that I work with, is A, give yourself permission. Give yourself permission to be successful, to have what you want. Because a lot of the time we put obstacles, conscious or otherwise, in our path. So give yourself permission. Believe that you can and that you are worthy. We live in an abundant world, and a lot of the time it's our own fear and insecurities around that put blocks in our way. So believe, face those uncomfortable feelings. A lot of people would say to me, but I want to be successful and I want all of these things, but actually there's tremendous guilt that's lying under the surface. Because at the same token, they create no time in their own lives, in their personal lives, for them, because they feel guilty. So how on earth can you then that cross over into your work life, into your business? So it is about giving yourself permission, believing you can, and then using your intuition, which is that amazing tool to guide you, you know, to where you need to go, how you need to work, who to bring in, when you need to bring some help in, and go with that. Don't ever force it. It's that don't force the story. That is when you're coming from the mental place of the will, and really you need to be coming from that softer place, from that heart, using intuition, and then applying that logic and those skills to then make that happen. But I do believe that decision has got to come from here, that desire.
So what have you found then to be the best way of really being able to connect with that intuition? Because I think it's quite an easy thing to say, and I think if you're quite well practiced in that, then you know, that's perhaps quite an easy skill to do. But I think when you're on the start of that journey, it can make logical sense, but people are like, okay, but how do I do that? So what do you think is the best way that people could really start to connect with that intuition?
Well, I can say that I am and was one of those people. You know, I ended up with mental health problems because I literally was completely disengaged from that. Everything was coming from the mind. I had a very busy mind, very active, and it didn't come easy to me. The one thing that I say is you've got to find a way to calm the mind, to still the mind, and that is through some form of meditation. That doesn't mean sitting cross-legged for hours on end. It means taking some time in your day to sit and be. And I was only saying before, we are human beings, but most of us are human doings. We're so busy doing that actually we don't stop and step back and actually assess, who am I happy, all of those things. You can only really do that and get in touch with that wisdom, that intuition, when you're quiet. But we have such a busy mind that by the time we are still, we're so exhausted we just conk out. So it is about finding a way, whether that is just going out into the garden, looking at the plants, taking a walk, whatever is a way for you to have some form of meditative practice to just slow down your mind, and then just start to listen, play with it, feel with it. You know, I work a lot with intuitive selecting cards, tarot cards, whatever's, and that is a way for your intuition to start giving you some of those messages. And the more that you go, oh God, I know that, that's that affirmation that you are picking up on that stuff. If you give yourself a little bit more time, so just give yourself time to be. That's really important.
So 2015 right now, what's the vision going forward for the Soul Coach?
So I love doing my one-to-one work. This year is very much around visibility, which is, you know, about getting to a wider audience. So I started, last night was the first night of my Soulful Women's Development Programme. So that's where I am working with a group of women to, again, share the tools and techniques and to give them that dedicated space to literally be still and start to listen to their own hearts. So groups is absolutely my passion. Also, towards the end of the year, I want to start with a retreat. Again, time out.
With groups, again.
In groups. Eventually, probably next year, I will start to do more of the one-to-one mentoring programs and then having that dedicated retreat time out as well. But at the moment, I'm starting with groups because there's a real sense, got to get that message out to a wider audience, and that's the best way to do it. So the group work, then follow on retreat, so that you've got that time to give to you.
The creative
Yeah,
aspect,
because the most important relationship you will ever have in your life is with yourself. Yeah, with ourselves is probably the least amount of time that we give.
Yeah.
So any time that you give to yourself is such a tremendous gift.
Yeah.
So whether that's 2 nights away, just being still, being with kindred spirits, I think nourishes the soul and gives you that time to reflect. That's absolutely where I'm growing this year, and probably at some point during the year to start to bring in work with children. I am an advanced flower essence practitioner, which means that I'm qualified to prescribe flower essences to children, because it's great to be working with adults, but you know, our patterns and our behaviours and our wounds, we've had them a long time, you know, and to be able to work at that level with children, they're very, you know, you work through stuff so quickly, so effortlessly, they don't bring the logic in, they don't question, and to me, that's where we need to be. I believe that children are our future, you know, and absolutely, and so cherish and cherish and see the preciousness of all that they are. They're a mind, a body, and a tremendous soul and spirit. And the soul plans actually I do for children as well, so that parents can be really soulful with their children. They can really help them and to grow and with their challenges and etc. And bring in the essences to help to support their emotional well-being. Because I wouldn't want anybody to have to go through what I went through. And if I'd have had those tools and techniques when I was younger, my life would probably be very different now. I wouldn't be where I am today, so I honour that process. But I went through it the hard way. So everybody that gets to go it a little simpler way, brilliant. My job is done.
Okay. So, and what is it do you believe that makes you unique in terms of, you know, things that you do? There's obviously quite a lot of range of packages of things that you do, but what is it that you believe that people really like about Sharon that helps them to connect to you and go, yes, I really want to work with you? What do you think that is?
Well, I'd say all of the above that I've said before is that I've walked this path, I walk this path. I never ask anybody to do anything that I either haven't done or wouldn't dream of doing myself. People can relate, you know, they resonate. There's a real resonance is that actually, you know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to be in the depths of despair. I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed with anxiety and fear. You know, I walked that path for 35 years. I don't want to walk that path anymore. I want to walk the path of positivity, belief, self-confidence, all of those things. And so I believe that that's what's unique about me, is the journey that I've been on, and that I can work with an individual, whether it's with their mind, their body, or their soul. I can literally work with you wherever you need to.
And where they feel comfortable
to start with. And for most people, it is absolutely. It's not in at the deep end. It's where do you need to start? And it's my intuitive gift of being able to listen to a person, to bear witness to their pain, and to somehow know where they need to go, what needs to be the starting point for them. And that is a unique gift, you know, and it was a gift I've always had and I never use. I used to feel it was a burden because I could really pick up on everybody's feelings and would take them all on as my own. And so now to have that gift of really being able to connect to that person and then know what is needed for them at that time, I believe that's unique.
Fabulous. So, what questions have you got, ladies, for Sharon? Some questions for her. You know, what might you girls want to know?
I've answered them all, Debbie.
Yes, that's it. So,
I've left them speechless. I hope that's a positive.
So Donna,
I was just wondering, because I've had my soul plan with Sharon, which was just quite amazing, and I was introduced to Sharon through somebody else. So my question would be, how do you know that that's the right path for you to see a soul coach? Because I would never have known to contact Sharon, but I was kind of drawn to you.
Well, you don't need